You should see the setup I have going on right now, everyone. Like, where do I even look in this camera? I had an epiphany last night, and I don't know if it was because I was listening to The Wizard Liz. I don't know if it was listening to just like myself and just like my podcast episode that I posted yesterday. I was like, I don't know if I resonate with everything I just said, in the sense of like, why on earth am I identifying with so much that's like going south in my life? Like, not that it isn't like even going south in my life, but it's like all a learning lesson. And I think for me, I want to just like let people be seen, or as like, I just don't think I want to focus on that anymore. As much as I want people to be seen in terms of like my autoimmune disease, like I'm such in the middle of figuring out what is going on with me that maybe just taking a step back and focusing on more in my life is the path that I need to go with right now, and that is perfectly fine. I want to talk about the fact that it is never too late to reinvent yourself. I'm literally just talking out of my butt right now. Nothing planned, reinventing yourself. It's never too late. I think the idea with like procrastination and waiting to the moment, like there's never going to be a perfect moment. And so for me to literally post a podcast episode, be like, you know what, something still feels weird, and then go back, record this, get it set up for like YouTube and whatever the next page is. Like, I just think there's so many ideas coming forward with my head right now that I'd rather focus on like a very positive upward beat. What's next? There's so much to be grateful for. And like, you know, with this idea, when it comes to the Savior Spoon, when it comes to my blog, I've always wanted it to be like inspiring people. And I look at my younger self when I was like, you know, in my concussion phase, newly diagnosed, and like I still want people with autoimmune diseases and chronic conditions to like look and like view me as someone who's like, I feel you, I see you. That shit is so real. But for me, I think I want to also focus on like, you know, the things that I wish I heard when I was in that phase. And looking at that podcast like yesterday, like there are aspects of it that I'm like, I totally feel that. Like, thank you for bringing it to light and making me feel not alone. But then there are aspects of it where I'm like, the victim mindset is so easy for humans to just decide like, oh, like I'm gonna go backwards, like boo-hoo, why me? And when I was editing it, I was like, oh my God, I talk so much about what's going on. I talk so much about my issues and like going on about my symptoms. I'm like, can I just shut the fuck up for a second? And I think that's something that I really want to scale back from talking about. I think everyone's issues are like very personal. I think they're very subjective, and how you handle it obviously can help your outcome. You know, those subconscious beliefs, like telling yourself like, I have energy every day. But there are people with issues that I can't empathize with because I'm not in your shoes. And sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like, this is what's working for me, but because of like the nature of your issue, like it might be different. And so like, I want people to take what I like say, and if they don't like it, they could just leave it. But like, I just want to keep on focusing on like the glass half full. There's so much more to life. And for me, I want to reinvent that idea of like moving forward. Like, this happened to me. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So we're going to keep going forward. With the idea of procrastination, like a lot of people are so afraid to take that first step. And it is scary. Like I was terrified to start this podcast, to start this channel, like to start any kind of content because of people judging me. And then I was scared of drinking and stopping that because what am I going to do going out and here forward? I think the more that you look inward and your values, like for me, I found out how much I love putting out content, putting out creations. And a lot of people are probably like, can this bitch shut up, please? But And I shouldn't say that because, again, that's a subconscious belief. That's me assuming that people look at this and think it's weird, and I just don't know what people think. And for me, I'm so fulfilled, I'm so happy, and I don't want anyone else to feel like they need to stop doing this, like to stop themselves. Reinventing yourself doesn't have to be that complicated too. For me, I've come to terms with I'm different than everyone, and that's not in an egotistical way. Like, I think everyone has a value to add to this world that is different than mine. Even where I live now is so hard because I'm like, oh my God, there are cars here nonstop. The thing is, if you want to grow, it might be scary. Like, you need to look inward and look at your core values. For me, like, I value relationships. I value abundance. Like, I want to have an abundant, wealthy life. I value how I carry myself, how I look, how I feel. Like, other people might value like social more than me. Like, I'm more of an introvert, and just like connecting with what's meant for you. And like, I love content creation, whereas someone might enjoy like art versus like filming themselves talking with a microphone in their face. And once you get in that groove of like, I think I found what's meant for me, it's weird because that ball won't stop. It's like constantly pushing you, giving you motivation, getting you energized. And I think that's one way that I recognize that content creation was something that, you know, the universe, higher power wanted me to pursue further. With you, reinventing yourself is looking at what happened, but also sometimes I like to paint a picture of what I want to be in the future, like embody that future self. So I see myself happy, well off with my family, like healthy, like able to go on hikes, like all this stuff. And like, I just envision like a glow of just warmth, like gold. And for some people, like that might not be what they want at all. Maybe they want to travel the world with their partner. And it's just seeing what you want and then feeling that warmth of like, this can be my future and you can claim it now. Something that I do is once I figure that out, I'm like, okay, what are the steps I can take right now in this day and age to push me in that direction? And so I will literally sit and draw like, okay, I'll get specific. Like, okay, I want this, 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 and this. Like, leading up to my life now, like I definitely put in like, I want to be healthy, I want a good paying job, I want a good boyfriend. Like, I listed that out and then I put details underneath it all. I want you to sit back and look at that and think about what are things that you want and what can be accessible right now. An example of that is like, you want a good boyfriend. All right, so you want someone who sees your needs, you want someone who takes care of you, you want someone who listens to you, and those are things that you can start doing with yourself. Like, people say you gotta date yourself first before you date someone else. So start taking care of yourself, start listening to your body, because that will attract what's meant for you. And there are so many situations where you can apply that. Like, if you want a job that pays well, you have to expand and look for opportunities where you can find a job that's meant for you. You know, because if you're gonna sit and procrastinate, if you're gonna sit and be complacent with the job, like, you aren't gonna be that highest self that you wanna be. So I would say, you know, get off your butt and see what you wanna do in this life. The sooner you reinvent yourself, the better. And I don't think there's anything wrong with reinventing yourself or trial and error with what fits you, what fits your values, what, you know, I think we're put on this world to see where we can add our imprint. And so if you're like, I don't know what the hell my imprint is, you're gonna be stuck for a while. But I'd rather try all these different avenues than sit stagnant in my job where I am making just comfortable money. This was a little spiel. I think that I would want people to look at life like a big ocean. There's so much that we don't know that's out there. There are so many opportunities. The abundance, it's exploding more and more daily. And that's the thing with looking at life glass half full or glass totally full. There's just so much, and I'd rather go about my days knowing that I have that support of the idea of just abundance behind me than thinking from a scarcity mindset. And so that's why for me right now, I'm trying to reinvent just what I'm doing with content creation. There is no point in me continuing to push out what's wrong with the world rather than not deep diving into what's wrong, but just scraping the surface and saying, you know what, this is what we're going to do here on out. Because I'd rather sit and talk about things that are actually going to benefit you versus all my health updates. And I'd rather be that positive light for people and show you like it does get better, as dumb as that saying is for some people. Even though it's shallow, I think there was so much depth to it, because once you see one avenue you can improve in your life, it kind of all explodes. Like, for example, I decided I wanted to pursue just no longer drinking. And then I found content creation. My fatigue levels went away. Everything exploded. And now I'm so like happy with how things have been going. And so I want that for you. And the only thing that you could, or the only way that you could start doing that and exploring those avenues is if you sit down, reflect on your life, see one change you can make that brings you to your highest self, and then just send it, full send it. I hope you appreciate that my content's kind of all over the place. I think I get literally like inputs from my brain and like what I want to talk about as I'm continuing to talk about it. And that's why for me, like, I know I want to sit and talk about one thing and just go for it. So I hope you appreciate this, and like, subscribe, follow. Have a good day, guys.